I'm Dawn and I'm 40 years old. As I reflect upon the tumultuous chapter of my life, it all began with my decision to end my marriage to Ben. It had become painfully clear to me that we were incompatible as he consistently demonstrated childish and immature behavior that grated on my nerves. The thought of spending the rest of my life with him became an unbearable burden. But it wasn't just Ben who had brought misery into my life. My former mother-in-law, Carol, played a significant role in making my married life a living hell. From the moment I stepped into their lives, she made it abundantly clear that I would never be good enough for her precious son. Her constant nitpicking, snide remarks, and undermining tactics chipped away at my self-esteem, leaving me feeling like an outsider in my own marriage. I remember countless instances where Ben's immaturity and Carol's interference wreaked havoc on our relationship, and there were times when I would come home from a long day at work, hoping for a peaceful evening, only to find Ben engrossed in video games, oblivious to my presence or the responsibilities we shared. When I would express my frustrations, he would dismiss me with a casual shrug, claiming that I was overreacting. Ben, I've had a long day at work. Could you please help with the household chores? Can't you do it later? I'm in the middle of this game. This wasn't even the worst of it. There was the time he forgot our anniversary. I can't believe you forgot our anniversary, Ben. It was an important milestone for us. Oh, come on, Dawn. It's just a date. We can celebrate another time. Then there was the time that he invited his witch of a mother over without even warning me first. Why did you invite your mother over without consulting me? I wanted to have a quiet weekend together. She's my mom, Dawn. She can come whenever she wants. Don't be so uptight. And don't get me started on budgeting and finance. It was like I was married to a child. Ben, can we talk about setting some financial goals and saving for the future? You worry too much, Dawn. Let's just enjoy our money while we can. We'll figure it out later. These are just a few glimpses into the deteriorating state of my marriage, where my concerns were dismissed, my feelings were invalidated, and my needs were constantly overlooked. It became increasingly clear that Ben's immaturity and indifference were insurmountable obstacles in our relationship. And then there were the family gatherings, where Carol would use every opportunity to belittle me in front of others. Her cutting remarks about my appearance, career, and even my cooking skills stung like daggers. She reveled in the discomfort she caused me, while Ben would often turn a blind eye, too afraid to confront his overbearing mother. Let me just throw a couple of real examples where she, just like her son, belittled and disparaged me. Example 1. Carol, I spent hours preparing this meal for family. I hope you enjoy it. Well, let's see if it's even edible. I can't trust your cooking skills. Example 2. Carol, I found this beautiful dress that I think would look great on me for the upcoming event. Oh, sweetie, that dress is far too revealing for someone your age. You don't want to embarrass yourself, do you? Example 3. Carol, I would appreciate it if you didn't criticize my parenting decisions. I know what's best for my children. Well, clearly you don't, or you wouldn't be making such foolish choices. Honestly, what is wrong with you? Example 4. Carol, I've been working hard to maintain a healthy lifestyle. I would appreciate your support. Oh, please, you're wasting your time with all that exercise and dieting. You'll never look as good as me. Example 5. Carol, I've asked you politely before. Please stop making snide remarks about me to others. I'm just telling the truth, dear. People should know what they're dealing with when it comes to you. These exchanges highlight the constant belittlement and disparaging remarks that Carol directed at me throughout my marriage. Her behavior was a constant source of stress and made it even more difficult to salvage any positivity in my relationship with Ben. The breaking point came when I realized that I deserved better than this toxic dynamic. I made the difficult decision to file for divorce, seeking a life free from the constant emotional turmoil that had plagued me for far too long. The courtroom became the battleground where I presented my case to the judge, detailing the irreconcilable differences and the detrimental impact this marriage had on my well-being. Finally, when the proceedings came to an end, the weight of my decision began to lift, but in the midst of my relief, Carol, my ex-mother-in-law, couldn't contain her delight. She leapt to her feet, her face contorted with a twisted joy, as she declared with a sickening glee that I was finally out of her life, and that she had triumphed in winning her son back. "I've won! I've finally won!" In that moment, as her words hung in the air, I felt a surge of anger and indignation. How dare she revel in my pain and celebrate the dissolution of my marriage as a personal victory? I couldn't contain my fury as I retorted, my voice laced with contempt, calling her out for the miserable and pathetic person she truly was. But instead of crumbling under the weight of my words, Carol just laughed. Her laughter echoed through the courtroom, a mocking soundtrack to the end of a chapter that had caused me so much pain. It was a chilling reminder that for some, winning meant tearing others down, and her twisted joy only fueled my determination to rise above the toxicity that had ensnared me. As I walked away from that courtroom, leaving behind the remnants of a failed marriage and a toxic relationship, I vowed to reclaim my life and find the happiness that had eluded me for far too long. Carol's laughter served as a stark reminder of the battles I had fought and the strength I had discovered within myself. No longer would I allow the judgment of others or the cruelty of those who sought to diminish me to define my worth. I would rise above the bitterness and embrace the freedom that awaited me. With each step forward, I embarked on a journey of self-discovery and healing, determined to create a life that reflected my true value and worth. The road ahead was uncertain, but I faced it with an unwavering resolve. I knew that the path to happiness wouldn't be easy, but the struggles and hardships I had endured had forged a resilience within me. It was time to leave behind the drama, the toxicity, and the emotional wounds and embrace a future filled with hope, self-love, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Well, unfortunately, the story doesn't end here. Of course it doesn't, because I can't catch a break to save my life. You remember when Carol was exclaiming how she had finally won? Well, I believe that she was anticipating receiving something, but she never did, and she never will. You see, she believed she had finally won and would get her hands on the coveted family heirloom that she had envied for so long. Little did she know that I held the key to her desires. The heirloom in question was a breathtaking diamond orchid necklace passed down through generations in my family. Its exquisite design and rarity made it an object of immense value, estimated to be worth millions of dollars. Carol's eyes would glimmer with greed whenever she laid eyes on it, but it remained out of her reach. Throughout my marriage to Ben, Carol made no effort to hide her desire for the necklace. She would frequently question why we didn't sell it and use the money for more practical purposes. I would always dismiss her suggestions, explaining that the necklace held sentimental value and was an integral part of my family's legacy. Despite her attempts to convince me otherwise, I remained resolute in keeping the heirloom within my family. Now, with the divorce finalized, Carol expected to claim her share of the heirloom's value. She believed she was entitled to half of its worth, a staggering amount that could potentially fulfill her materialistic dreams. But what she didn't realize was that I had something else in mind. A month had passed since the divorce was finalized, and I thought I had left Carol and her conniving ways behind me. But one evening I was taken by surprise when I heard a familiar knock on my front door. Opening it, I found Carol standing there, tears streaming down her face, her voice trembling as she tried to speak. "Dawn, please, I need to talk to you." Feeling a mix of curiosity and a tinge of sympathy, I motioned for her to come inside to escape the bitter cold. I couldn't help but wonder what had caused Carol's abrupt visit, and why she appeared so distressed. Once we were seated in the living room, I encouraged her to explain herself. Through her tears, Carol managed to speak, her voice shaky and broken. My plan, it failed, Dawn. I thought I would finally have what I wanted, but everything has gone wrong. With a hint of skepticism, I urged her to continue, intrigued by her admission of defeat. What plan are you talking about, Carol? And why are you so upset? Carol took a deep breath, composing herself as best she could. You see, I expected Ben to be entitled to half of the value of the precious heirloom. I thought I had won, but he revealed something to me that shattered my hopes. Curiosity mingled with a touch of satisfaction as I leaned in, urged her to reveal the truth. And what did Ben reveal, Carol? I'm listening. Carol wiped away her tears, her voice filled with a mix of regret and disbelief. He told me that he had forgotten to tell me about a prenuptial agreement he had signed before our marriage. It clearly stated that the heirloom, along with all your money, was off limits. I never stood a chance. I couldn't help but burst into laughter, a combination of relief and vindication coursing through me. Oh, Carol, you have no idea how much I anticipated this very moment. I knew all along that your manipulative schemes would come crashing down. Carol's face flushed with a mix of embarrassment and anger. You knew all along, and you let me believe I had won? How could you? Leaning back in my chair, a sense of triumph emanating from within, I looked at Carol with a wry smile. Oh, Carol, I didn't let you believe anything. You saw what you wanted to see, blinded by your own greed. I knew the truth would come to light eventually, and it did. As the realization of her own folly sank in, Carol's tears turned into a mixture of frustration and regret. She had played her hand, and it had crumbled beneath her, leaving her empty-handed and defeated. I can't believe you signed that prenup, Dawn. I was expecting to at least gain access to some of your money after the divorce. Carol, I signed the prenup for moments exactly like this. I knew there would come a time when someone like you would try to steal what's rightfully mine. You were never a good wife, Dawn. How could you do this to me? I mean, Ben. This has nothing to do with being a good wife, Carol. It's about protecting myself and my assets from manipulative individuals like you. I had the foresight to safeguard my future. Don't be mad because you're stupid. But I need the money, Dawn. I'm desperate. That's not my problem, Carol. You made your choices, and now you have to face the consequences. It's time for you to leave my home. You're so cruel and selfish, Dawn. I'm not the one who tried to deceive and manipulate others for personal gain, Carol. You reap what you sow. Now please leave. The room fell into an uncomfortable silence as Carol's sobs filled the air. The weight of her failed plans and the reality of her situation crashed down upon her. It was a painful realization that her greed and deceit had backfired, leaving her with nothing to show for her efforts. I remained resolute, understanding that it was essential to stand up for myself and protect what was rightfully mine. I had learned the hard way that trust and love should never blind her to the possibility of betrayal. As Carol reluctantly gathered herself, she looked at me with a mix of anger and resignation. The bitterness of her own choices lingered in the air as she muttered one word. Heartless. You have the audacity to call me heartless, Carol? Look at how you treated me throughout my marriage to Ben. You were vindictive, cruel, and manipulative. I never treated you badly. You're exaggerating, Dawn. Oh, really? Let me remind you of the time you purposefully excluded me from family events, constantly belittled my achievements, and spread rumors about me behind my back. You enjoyed seeing me suffer. I did no such thing. You're just trying to paint me as the villain. Stop denying it, Carol. I've had enough of your lies and manipulation. Get out of my house. Please, Dawn, just give me some money. I need it. I will give you 30 seconds to leave my property or I'll call the police. This is your last chance. You can't do this to me, Dawn. I'm family. Family doesn't treat each other the way you've treated me. Good riddance, Carol. As the seconds ticked away, Carol's face contorted with a mix of anger, disbelief, and defeat. She realized that her attempts to manipulate me had failed. Reluctantly, she turned and made her way towards the door. The air was thick with tension as the distance between us grew. With a final glance, Carol left, stepping into a world of uncertainty and facing the consequences of her actions. I stood tall, feeling a mixture of relief and liberation. I had severed ties with toxicity and reclaimed my power. The next day came around, and wouldn't you believe it, yet another leech from my past tried to reconcile with me. "What do you want, Ben?" "Dawn, I need your help. I'm in a tough spot right now, and I was hoping—" "Save it, Ben. I don't want to hear your excuses. You had the audacity to call me instead of facing me like a man. How cowardly can you be?" "I thought it would be better this way, Dawn. Please, just hear me out." "Oh, I'm all ears, Ben. Enlighten me. Tell me how you constantly belittled my ambitions, mocked my dreams, and made me feel like I wasn't good enough. Do you remember those moments?" "I don't know what you're talking about, Dawn. We had our disagreements, sure, but—" "Disagreements? Is that what you call it? I call it emotional abuse. You underestimated me at every turn, trying to break my spirit. Well, guess what? I'm done with it. I deserve better." "Dawn, please, I'm sorry for everything. I'm in a tough spot right now, and I thought maybe—" It's funny, Ben. You agreed to the prenup, yet here you are, begging and sniveling." "I didn't know what I was signing. I just knew that I loved you." "Cut the crap, Ben. Knowing you, you probably expected me to renege my decision." "Dawn, I don't know what to say." "Yeah, I figured. You've always been a wuss." "Dawn, please hear me out." "Listen to me, Ben. This is the last time I'll say it. If you ever try to contact me again, I'll get a restraining order against you. Do you understand?" "But Dawn—" "No, Ben, it's over. Goodbye." I hung up on Ben and proceeded to delete his number. I was finally done with those two, and I couldn't be happier. As I sit here reflecting on the journey I've traveled since the end of my tumultuous marriage, a sense of contentment washes over me. I am in a better place now, both mentally and emotionally. It's as if a weight has been lifted off my shoulders and I'm finally able to breathe freely again. Life has taken an unexpected turn, and I find myself relishing in the joys and pleasures it has to offer. I have embraced my newfound independence and have ventured back into the dating world. Meeting new people and experiencing the excitement of romantic connections has been exhilarating. Through it all, I have learned to cherish my own worth and not settle for anything less than the love and respect I deserve. In addition to the thrill of new relationships, I have found solace and empowerment in sharing my story. The journey I endured during my marriage has inspired me to write a book, a memoir recounting the trials and tribulations of my past. It is a testament to the strength I discovered within myself and a message of hope for those who have endured similar hardships. Through my writing, I strive to shed light on the importance of self-love and the courage it takes to break free from toxic relationships. Meanwhile, the echoes of my ex-husband and mother-in-law's misery reach my ears. Their envy is palpable as they witness my growing success and happiness from afar. It seems they underestimated the resilience that lies within me, and now they are left to lament the consequences of their actions. The tables have turned, and it brings me a sense of satisfaction that I never imagined. While I have distanced myself from the toxicity of their presence, I have not escaped their attempts to tarnish my reputation. Carol and Ben have made futile efforts to slander my name, hoping to drag me down to their level of misery. However, I'm not one to be underestimated or silenced. I stand firm in my resolve to protect my integrity, and I am currently pursuing legal action against them for their slanderous words. Their attempts to test my patience only fuel my determination to drain them of their ill-gotten gains. As I navigate this new chapter in my life, I am filled with gratitude for the strength I have discovered within myself and the support of those who have stood by my side. I am surrounded by a network of friends and loved ones who uplift and inspire me. They have witnessed my growth and continue to encourage me to reach for the stars. I have emerged from the ashes of a failed marriage, stronger and wiser than ever before. I have learned to value my own worth, to set boundaries, and to pursue my own happiness unapologetically. The journey has been arduous, but it has led me to a place of self-empowerment and a life that is authentically mine. In the end, the story of my life is not defined by the pain and hardships I endured, but by the resilience and triumph that followed. I have overcome the darkness of my past and emerged into the light of a future filled with endless possibilities. And as I continue to write the pages of my own story, I do so with a renewed sense of purpose, embracing the happiness that eluded me for far too long. With every word I pen, I am reclaiming my voice, my power, and my life. The revenge I sought was not to bring them down to my level, but to rise above and show them the strength and grace I possess. I am Dawn, the phoenix that has risen from the ashes, and I am ready to soar to new heights, leaving the remnants of my past far behind.